Video opens with a dramatic shot of a middle-aged man sitting alone in a dimly lit room. He looks disconnected and isolated. Quick cut to a close-up of a hand lighting a cigarette. Another quick cut to 15 cigarettes laid out in a row. What if I told you there's a silent killer in our midst, one that's as dangerous as smoking 15 cigarettes a day? It's not a virus or a new environmental toxin. It's an epidemic of the human heart, hiding in plain sight. This is the unseen danger of loneliness. Statistics flash across the screen, comparing the mortality risks of loneliness to smoking and obesity. Data visualizations show stark, climbing graphs. An elderly woman is seen staring out her window, her expression longing. The scene transitions to a vibrant park where a group of friends are laughing and sharing a meal. The contrast is sharp. This isn't just about feeling sad. It's a profound biological threat. When we are socially isolated, our bodies perceive it as a state of emergency. An animation shows cortisol and inflammatory markers flooding a stylized human silhouette. Our stress hormone levels spike, inflammation runs rampant, and our immune system weakens, leaving us vulnerable. This chronic state of high alert is the first step on a dangerous path. The physiological toll is immense and multifaceted. A doctor points to a brain scan, with highlighted areas showing reduced activity. Graphics overlay the scan, indicating a 29% increased risk of heart disease and a 32% increased risk of stroke. Another scene shows a young woman in her bedroom, phone in hand but disconnected from the world, exhibiting clear signs of anxiety. We see her scrolling aimlessly, the blue light of the screen illuminating a face etched with worry. Loneliness doesn't just break our hearts emotionally, it literally damages them. 3D anatomical models of the heart and brain rotate, showing the cumulative long-term damage caused by chronic isolation-scarred arteries, shrinking brain volume, and an elevated risk for developing conditions like dementia. It's a slow, silent erosion of our physical and mental well-being. But there is a powerful antidote: human connection. The science is clear. A graphic illustrates the release of oxytocin, serotonin, and dopamine during positive social interactions. When we connect with others, our brains are flooded with these feel-good hormones, which counter the stress response and promote a sense of well-being. We see a montage of heartwarming scenes: a family laughing together at a dinner table, two old friends walking arm in arm in a park, a community group working together in a garden. In a simulated interview, a psychologist explains a crucial distinction. Loneliness isn't the same as being alone, she says, her tone empathetic. You can be surrounded by people and still feel profoundly lonely. Loneliness is the subjective feeling of being isolated, the gap between the social connections you want and the ones you have. Solitude can be restorative, but true loneliness is a state of distress. The solution begins with a single step. It's not about having hundreds of friends. It's about nurturing quality connections that make you feel seen, heard, and valued. We are fundamentally wired for community, and neglecting this need comes at a cost we can no longer afford to ignore. So, what can you do? Pick up the phone and call a friend you haven't spoken to in a while. Join a local club or a class that interests you. Volunteer for a cause you believe in. These small acts of reaching out can rebuild the bridges that loneliness has broken. The final shot shows the man from the opening scene, no longer alone. He's now in a bustling coffee shop, engaged in an animated conversation with a friend, a genuine smile on his face. The connection is palpable, a beacon of hope against the shadows of isolation.
What if the most profound threat to your health isn't a virus or a poor diet, but a feeling? An emptiness that settles deep within the bones? This is the reality of chronic loneliness, an invisible epidemic with very visible consequences. In our hyperconnected yet increasingly isolated world, we are uncovering a stark truth. Prolonged loneliness physically reshapes our bodies, turning a state of mind into a state of disease. This isn't about enjoying your own company. It's about the deep, gnawing ache of unwanted isolation, a distress signal that echoes through every cell. The science is clear. Loneliness doesn't just break hearts, it systematically breaks bodies, and understanding how is the first step toward healing. This system, known as the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal (HPA) axis, is designed for short, acute bursts of danger. However, when loneliness persists, the HPA axis gets stuck in the on position. It relentlessly signals the adrenal glands to pump out cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone. This isn't the temporary surge you feel before a public speech. It's a slow, steady drip of cortisol flooding your system, day in and day out. This transforms the body's life-saving alarm into a low-grade, biological siren that never truly switches off, creating a foundation of physiological stress that insidiously wears down our health from the inside. The hormone's constant presence forces the heart to work harder, elevating its resting rate while simultaneously causing blood vessels to constrict. This sustained pressure leads directly to a rise in blood pressure, a condition known as hypertension. Over time, the chronic stress and inflammation fostered by loneliness damage the delicate inner lining of our arteries. This damage creates an environment where cholesterol and fatty substances can more easily accumulate, forming atherosclerotic plaques. This silent, progressive buildup narrows the arteries, stiffens them, and dramatically increases the risk for life-threatening events like heart attacks and strokes. The emotional ache of loneliness, therefore, translates directly into physical strain on our most vital organ. Chronic loneliness has a dual, paradoxical effect on our body's defenders. On one hand, it can suppress the function of crucial immune cells, weakening our frontline response and leaving us more susceptible to common infections like the cold and flu. On the other hand, and perhaps more dangerously, it promotes a state of chronic, low-grade inflammation throughout the body. This persistent inflammatory state is not a sign of a healthy immune response but a system in disarray. The relentless stress and inflammation disrupt critical brain functions. This often manifests as poor sleep quality, as the brain remains in a state of hypervigilance, unable to fully rest and repair. Cognitively, this leads to a noticeable decline, affecting our ability to focus, make decisions, and recall memories. Most alarmingly, long-term loneliness is a significant risk factor for the development of neurodegenerative diseases, including Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia, as the constant stress accelerates the aging process of the brain. But biology is not destiny, and the human body possesses a profound capacity for resilience and healing. Just as isolation can dismantle our health, connection can rebuild it. The antidote to the physical ravages of loneliness is found in the simple, yet powerful, act of forging meaningful bonds. Engaging with a community, volunteering for a cause, nurturing friendships, or even finding companionship with a pet can begin to reverse the damage. These acts of connection help to calm the overactive stress response, lower cortisol levels, reduce inflammation, and restore balance to the body. By reaching out and rediscovering our place among others, we don't just mend a broken heart, we empower our entire physiology to repair, rebuild, and thrive.
What if I told you that one of the greatest threats to your health is not the air you breathe or the food you eat, but something far more invisible? We are constantly warned about the dangers of a sedentary lifestyle and environmental toxins, but a growing body of research points to a silent epidemic that could be even more damaging: social isolation. Humans are wired for connection. Our relationships are not just a source of joy. They are a biological necessity. They regulate our stress responses, bolster our immune systems, and give us a sense of purpose. When these connections wither, the consequences are severe. Chronic loneliness can trigger a cascade of harmful physiological changes, activating the same fight-or-flight response we experience under threat. Over time, this constant state of alert wears down the body. We all know that a lack of physical activity is a major risk factor for heart disease, diabetes, and obesity. The advice is clear: move your body. Yeah. Some studies have concluded that the mortality risk associated with loneliness is equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day, and can be even greater than that associated with obesity and physical inactivity. The chronic stress from isolation can lead to high blood pressure, inflammation, and a weakened immune system. We rightly fear the impact of air pollution. The toxins we inhale can cause respiratory diseases and cardiovascular problems. It's a visible, tangible threat to our well-being. But the psychological and biological toll of feeling utterly alone can be just as, if not more, devastating. While pollution attacks the body from the outside, loneliness erodes it from within, affecting everything from our sleep quality to our cognitive function and our very will to live. Researchers aren't suggesting we ignore other health risks. Instead, they are urging us to recognize social connection as a fundamental pillar of public health, as critical as clean air and exercise. The solution isn't always easy, but it starts with small steps. Reach out, connect, because our relationships are our greatest medicine.